Today I am using my Instapot, but you can make the soup on your stovetop as well. You'll want to soak those beans for about 4 hours and then cook them for about 2.5 to 3 hours, and then you can put your recipe together. This could also be done in a crock pot, but I don't have the directions for that, but you could do this in a crock pot. I don't like to because the beans don't get as soft as I want them to. If you're following along with me, we are going to put 3 tablespoons of olive oil into the Instapot. I'm using a 13-ounce package of turkey Polish kielbasa. You can use beef kielbasa if you'd like. I'm allergic to beef. You could use ham, which I'm allergic to, and you could use chicken. You can even put ground turkey or ground beef in this as well, but I like to use the turkey kielbasa and just cut it into little slices and cut it in half. I'm using a Ninja Foodie Instapot, and I have a sear and saute function on this Instapot, and I'm just going to cut that onto high. We just want to brown that kielbasa and just lock in the flavor. Once you've got your kielbasa browned, we are just going to take that kielbasa and just put it into a bowl and set it aside. Now, still using the saute and sear function on our Instapot, we are going to set it to medium-high heat. I have 2 stalks of celery that I diced. We're going to add that to the pot. Add 1 whole diced bell pepper. It doesn't matter what color. I have an orange one. And then we are going to add 1 medium Vidalia onion, diced. Let's mix this up, and then we're going to add maybe another tablespoon of olive oil, just to be on the safe side. Let's make sure we've got enough oil. And then we're just going to saute the celery, onion, and bell pepper. You could skip this step and just add it to your soup mixture if you'd like, but what I really like to do is just add my packet to this, and that comes in the beans, and we are using a 16 bean Cajun soup mixture. We are just going to add the seasoning packet that comes in the beans to the celery, bell pepper, and onion. Give it a mix, and then we are going to add some Cajun seasoning. I don't feel like the packet has enough seasoning in it, so we're just going to add 1 teaspoon of Cajun seasoning. And I am using the no salt Cajun seasoning. And we are going to saute these for about 5 minutes. You do want to keep an eye on this, but while we're sauteing this, you're going to grab those beans and we are going to wash them. I always look through my beans, and I will say that when you're looking through this 16 bean mixture, it's kind of hard to see any rocks or clumps of dirt, but I still like to look because you never know. And then we're going to wash them, and I'm going to show you how dirty they are. They're very dirty. So I actually wash these about 3 times. And there you can see how dirty that water is. And I do wash these until that water runs clear. While you're doing this, you do want to keep an eye on your onions and bell peppers and celery that you're sauteing. And then once you've got the beans washed, go ahead and add your kielbasa back with the celery, onion, and bell peppers. We are going to add 8 cups of chicken broth. Now, I have a 6-quart Instapot, and you want to make sure that you have a very large pot when you're doing this. Now, you could always cut the entire recipe in half and just do half of this recipe. And you can always freeze it as well. I really like to add 2 cans of fire roasted tomatoes to this, but I didn't have any, so I'm just making do with what I've got. So I have got a 28-ounce can of crushed tomatoes. We are going to add that whole can to our Instapot. We are going to add our beans that we washed to the Instapot. And then once we add our beans, we're just going to mix this up. And I like to give it a taste test. I want to make sure that I have enough spice in here. I decided I needed another half a teaspoon of Cajun seasoning. Again, that's no salt, Cajun seasoning. And I will post all the ingredients in the description for you. And then once I added the Cajun seasoning, I decided this just needed just a little hint of heat. So I added 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. And this did give it just that perfect amount of heat, just enough to warm your body up when it's a little cool outside. It was so good. Let's add 3 bay leaves, and you're just going to lay them right on top. You do not want to mix them into your soup because we're going to have to get them out later. Now let's put our Instapot lid into the locked position, making sure to seal this. And now we're going to cut on our Instapot. Set the temp to high and set the time to 45 minutes. Once your 45 minutes are up, we are just going to let this naturally release. And this is really important. You want to make sure it does. And I let it go for about 37 minutes or so. And then I cut it off. I moved the gauge from seal to release. You want to make absolutely sure there's no more pressure in this before you take that lid off. You want to always make sure to check that. And we're not done yet. We have got to get those bay leaves out of this because you do not want to eat bay leaves. Not only can they cause you to choke, they also can be damaging to your digestive tract. They can cut your esophagus, they can cut your throat. So you want to make sure to get those out. So I've taken them out, and voila, we're done. And guys, I had to make fried cornbread to go with this. Oh, it was so good. It was perfect for this fall weather that we're having here in Tennessee.